People need hope. People need to feel good about the future. People need to believe that things are going to go well. People need to see a better and brighter future. You need hope. Your team needs hope. I need hope. I just paid $10 USD for a carton of eggs that were 3 days away from expiration in a flimsy styrofoam container with a sticker that said, "These chickens got outdoor access." I need hope. I don't know if you know this, but The Rock and John Cena are now officially bad guys in the WWE. I have lived long enough to see my heroes become villains. I need hope. And for the average employee, work has become so disengaging, dehumanizing even, that a TV show about literal disassociation from work has leapfrogged Ted frickin' Lasso, the paragon of hopeful leadership, to become the #1 TV show on the planet. I need hope. It turns out that hope is the #1 need of the world's employees. But don't just take my word for it. Gallup published a survey earlier this year of 72,000 people across 52 countries, including the 11th province. And what they found is that more than trust, more than stability, and even more than compassion, hope has emerged as the #1 need for all of us. And who exactly do they need hope from? They need it from everyone. They need it from rabbis, priests, imams, pundits, but second only to their own families, people need hope from us. People need hope from the people leaders in the room, people who account for at least 70% of the variance in employee engagement, which begs the question, can we meet the moment? Do we have the ability right now to give people what they're asking for, practically begging for? I'm hopeful, I'm confident that we can, but it's not going to be easy. Because during times of uncertainty like these, leaders don't actually step up. It's a misconception. In fact, they sink to the level of their training. And therein lies the rub. Most leaders are insufficiently trained or have received no training whatsoever. The Chartered Management Institute reckons that 80% of leaders, 8 out of 10 leaders, have received no training at all. Imagine lying on a hospital bed and a nurse whispers to you, "By the way, at this hospital, 8 out of 10 of our doctors have not gone to med school." And yet this is playing out in all of our organizations. Why is this important? Because the future is all but certain. Nobody knows what's going to happen next. We are passing through the most uncertain time in history. This was best described by Dr. Edward O. Wilson, who said that we have Paleolithic emotions, medieval institutions, and godlike technology, and it is terrifically dangerous. And evidence of these tectonic shifts are playing out in the zeitgeist itself. Zeitgeist is probably my favorite word. 19 points in Scrabble, by the way. Zeitgeist means the general intellectual, moral, and cultural climate of an era. If you had to pick one word to describe what it feels like to be alive right now, what would it be? Every year I wait with bated breath for the large dictionaries and linguistic societies to publish their word of the year, because I think it's the most honest reflection of how humanity is feeling. This was the most recent series of selections. Brat. Brain rot. Polarization. Raw dog. I bet you didn't think you were going to hear that at a Speaker Spotlight showcase. And my favorite one, ready for this one? N-shitification. What a word. We got to zoom in on this one. N-shitification means the gradual deterioration of a service or product brought about by a reduction in the quality of service provided and as a consequence of profit seeking. So if you've ever been on the phone with Air Canada customer service recently, I'm never speaking for Air Canada, it's just not happening. So is it any surprise that Sherry Ann is saying hope is not a strategy? It may interest you to know that the word zeitgeist has a second meaning. In German, it literally translates to time ghost, something from the past that can haunt us in the present, like outdated management paradigms. The sort of paradigms that would have us, during moments of transition, react with fear rather than respond with hope. That would have us compete with one another rather than collaborate with one another. That would have us oppress one another rather than liberate one another. And so when you factor in time ghosts, godlike technology, crumbling medieval institutions, and a human brain that hasn't received a significant hardware upgrade in at least 10,000 years, of course it feels Like everything is changing. Of course, it feels like the only constant about our world is constant change. Nobody knows what's going to happen next, least of all our dear Sherry Ann. Here's how I imagine her mornings go. For some reason, I picture her pouring some Baileys in her coffee. Seems on brand. Takes a swig, looks at the poster and says, "You're right, Vince Lombardi. Hope is not a strategy." And then she struts into her meeting, right? "Good morning, team. Hope is not a strategy. What do you got for me?" And then her team lays it on. Her team says, "Tariffs on, tariffs off. Did you see what Trump tweeted? We're burning out. Artificial intelligence may raise this entire company. There's a fight happening in the parking lot between 100 men and one gorilla. It is bonkers." And Sherry Ann has to decide in a split second, is she going to react with fear or respond with hope? When we react with fear, we do the most counterproductive thing. We stop leading and we start managing. When we react with fear, we invite organizational darkness. And if any of this seems far-fetched, just Google at any time you want, "My boss is." Just type this into Google and let the autofill search results reveal to you what the average Canadian thinks of the person entrusted with their well-being second only to their family. And you will find such colorful responses as "My boss is goofy," "My boss is toxic," "My boss is gaslighting me," "My boss is a mass murderer," "My boss is a werewolf," "My boss is my secret husband." This is true. But just as easily as we can slip into organizational darkness, so too can we emerge from it. And how do we do so? One word: together. Now, some of you might be wondering, does hope actually work? I understand the moral imperative here, but how does this translate into bottom line success? Very good question. Hope absolutely works, resoundingly so. Hope is nothing short of a super metric, in my opinion, that influences everything from thriving all the way down to enthusiasm. What we simply have to do is just give our people a better and brighter vision of tomorrow. So when leaders say hope is not a strategy, I think what they're really saying is that hope alone is not a strategy, and I think they'd be right. But hope plus action, boy, that is a blueprint for a better and brighter future. Hope without action is just a dream, but action without hope is a dead end.